What's up guys, it's your boy George here coming at you with another video. Today I want to talk about healthcare and also a healthcare ETF, which I think you guys should be extremely excited about its future potential. Let's get on with the video. Right guys, let's talk about the healthcare sector. So currently there is $7.8 trillion spent on the healthcare sector across the globe annually each year. It's really split up into three main areas. You've got pharmaceuticals, so your GSKs and your Pfizers. You've got medical equipment, so heart monitors and also defibs and things like that, so actual equipment for the medics to use and medical instruments. Then you've got actual facilities, so the hospitals and the infrastructure for medical procedures and things like that. So the sector itself is actually growing. So currently from analysts, the healthcare sector has a CAGR of 5% annually from 2019 to 2023. And also the World Health Organization said that the outpace of development in the healthcare sector in terms of spending is outpacing the global economy. And what it means by that is it's currently at 10% of GDP globally is the spending on healthcare, but it's set to increase. So the money's got to come from somewhere, and it's outpacing the rate at which the GDP across the globe is rising to keep it at 10%. So there'll be more spending on healthcare, and this is kind of also offset by aging populations. And I think as we get older, we suffer more genetic and chronic illnesses. We are, really at the forefront of curing, the diseases that you suffer when you're, 20 to 30, minus like cancer and HIV. And those are some of the really big things that companies are working towards now. And obviously, everybody knows the thing they're really working towards right now in the current situation. Right guys, there are three risks I want to kind of touch upon of investing in healthcare. So one is regulatory. So this means that it's a heavily regulated sector, and any changes in regulation could drastically affect its share price. And it also might be a barrier to get certain products out to its customers. You've got number two, where it's very susceptible to litigation if the end consumer feels that the medical device or the drugs that they've been taking have actually caused them long-term harm. They can be sued. There have been some very famous historic cases. I think you can look some up. And number three is that there's a vast amount of competition out there. There are a lot of treatments which target the same illness, and it's very hard to distinguish once your product has matured, and there could always be a new product on the horizon, which is why there is a vast amount of expenditure on the latest technology in healthcare. So guys, today we're going to be looking at HEAL. I think that's a really cool name for a healthcare innovation ETF. So HEAL is iShares Healthcare Innovation ETF, which is essentially comprises of organizations or healthcare companies which are looking at basically the forefront of research and R&D in certain areas to better the healthcare sector. So the investment objective of the ETF is the fund seeks to track the performance of an index composed of developed and emerging market companies which are generating significant revenues from specific sectors focused on pushing the boundaries in medical treatment and technology. So for me, they're a really good combination of medical and technology, and also they are a global ETF. So while they have a massive concentration of companies in the ETF in the US, they also have them dispersed globally, which gives you also a bit more diversification and kind of global resilience in your portfolio. The ongoing cost is 0.4, so that is $4 for every $1,000 you invest in the fund. But yeah, let's dig into the ETF because it's great to look at it on the surface value, but let's actually dig in and see what companies are in it. So guys, let's very quickly look at the top 4 holdings in the ETF to get a sense of a feel of the types of companies in there. So, I mean, Quidel is their biggest holding, and this is essentially a global leader in the diagnosis of healthcare. And what I mean by that is it's all about the detection of illnesses early, and it's currently leading the way in terms of how you detect viruses and things like that. And they are developing a test kit, and they got funding from the government in June to start to develop test kits for the current situation early, so doctors can diagnose it easier. And I think this is something in healthcare that is really important, is the earlier you can diagnose the illness, so the quicker you can detect the certain illness is, you've got a much better chance of treating the illness. So that's number 1. Number 2 is BGEN, and this is a kind of a Chinese biotech company which is looking at essentially cancer treatment, and they have just sold they've just raised $2.1 billion to look at cancer treatment, and they have got access from China to start to use some of China's cancer treatment research, and apparently it is more advanced than the US. That's probably up to interpretation, but the company has received approval in China for its version of cutting-edge immunotherapy treatment known as PD-1 drugs, which uses the body's own immune system to fight cancer cells. So essentially teaching your own antibodies to fight the cancer cells, which I think is pretty awesome. So guys, number 3 is Immunomedics, and they are looking at cutting-edge technology to fight cancer. They are looking at ADCs, which are essentially antibody drug conjugate technology, which essentially means they are looking to deliver the payload of a drug into the tumor cells of cancer by attaching their drug to an antibody and inject it into the cancer cells to eradicate it, which I mean is really cool. And they say also that it might have some applicability elsewhere in the healthcare sector, so this is something to keep an eye on. So guys, number 4 is Livongo, and Livongo is essentially an app, but it's an all-in-one software which helps you track your body's kind of metrics in terms of if you suffer chronic illness, say like diabetes, so blood pressure, body weight and things like that. And what it does is it takes in your information, and it also gives you a specific program on what you should be doing for your body to increase your health. And I mean, some scary stats here. So there are currently 147 million adults in the US living with chronic conditions. So with 40% having more than one. So there's definitely a compounding of chronic illnesses. But the scary thing is that patients in this category account for 90% of healthcare spend. So if we talk about spending of healthcare, chronic illness is where the vast amount of spending is to relieve that illness. And this app has a really strong kind of focus on that, of improving people's life health so they are less likely to suffer from chronic illnesses. It's a great one to keep an eye on, and I think this is something that I'm really keen on, is using data in healthcare. So using data from the patient to basically help them improve. Anyway, keep an eye on it. So guys, those are just 4 of the holdings in Heal, and their performance has been absolutely stellar. I will quickly flash it up now for you guys, but they have been on a very hot streak recently. So guys, that's my thoughts on this ETF. I'm certainly going to add this to my portfolio. It's currently sitting at, I think just over $8 a share in the ETF. So I think that's great. I'm going to certainly pick up some shares later on this week. But yeah, I thought I'd let you know. I'm certainly bullish on healthcare, and I think the current situation we find ourselves in is a really strong catalyst for spending in healthcare, and I think governments will still devote a lot of money towards it, but there will be more money now going forward to prevent something like this going forward. So I think that's a good thing. Anyway guys, I hope you enjoyed today's video. Smash the like button and leave a comment down below. But yeah, I really enjoyed today's video. I thought it was actually really good fun to research a lot of these cutting healthcare companies. And I think when you do YouTube videos and you actually start to have to look at the research behind it. Like going away and actually doing this research is really enjoyable. So yeah, really enjoyed it. Got my coffee, ready to start the day. Have a great day, people.